it's always really awkward. Some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And no, it was you were good. It was even in a movie. That's one of the things when you're watching a movie together. Even if I'm with my parents watching a movie, something like that comes up. It's it's one of those things where it just gets silent and nobody says anything, and you're just hoping the other one didn't hear it.
Exactly. I mean, I'm not that dirty, but I just know how it gets
not at all.
in a live comedy environment. But that club's real tame. That one's real tame.
Was now most of the clubs you play, compared to the Comedy Zone in Columbia, did that seem really kind of subdued and?
Yeah. I mean, but there again, and that's what happens when you're a comedian. The first time in a room, sometimes you got to kind of test it out before you really know what you want to do, material wise. So I was kind of, going here and there with stuff. But, when I go back, I think I can spread my wings a little bit even further out and just kind of try some other stuff because it's really a great room. They listen, there's no, there's not a lot of heckling, and they seem to enjoy the show. They want comedy. These people that came are people that want to see live comedy. They didn't just come out because they didn't know what else to do.
Right. So when you're Bible Belt though, you don't blaspheme our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, do you?
Well,
you're sorry.
The MC Lenny was a Christian comic. He does actual Christian comedy too. And I'm I'm a Lutheran. I got to do a show for my church this Friday, as a matter of fact. So
no way.
It's one of those things. I know I'm a sinner, and I try not to, but then again, when I'm doing my show, I get into my character, and I just do it, and I try to stay within whatever parameters the room wants me in,
Now, how do you get the feel for that? Like when you're obviously that was the first time you played there. How do you get the feel for if you're pushing it too far, or do you just kind of go off their reaction?
Yeah, well, the good thing about it was having the MC there, Marty, go up, because I knew he was talking to him before the show. It's the first time I ever met him. I knew he was going to be clean because of what he was saying. So I thought, well, and I know Jerry Farber, the guy, he's 72. He's been doing it for close to 50 years, and I know Jerry from doing shows with him in the past, and Jerry likes it pretty clean too. So there I was right there, and that I knew where I could go with these guys.
Right. Now
it was just what do I do with the crowd? And I know when I busted out like the F word, not a lot, but just for like emphasis.
Right.
I could tell it kind of hit pretty hard, And
well, I think it's that, and I was kind of waiting for it, and it's kind of like that. That first one's got to break the ice, and then that's where it's kind of that uncomfortable feel, and then after that you're used to it, and it's probably okay after that. But I think it's that first one that kind of nobody knows what to do, whether to laugh or to be shocked or.
Walk out.
Now I'm looking at it, I'm going, well, it's a room I could do it without. I can do my act without it anyway. But sometimes you kind of, I thought, well, I'm the middle guy, and this guy's going to be real clean in front of me, and Jerry's going to be relatively clean behind me. I think if there was going to be anybody dirty, it would be me, and that's why I kind of went a little bit on the edge with it, because I thought, well, I want this to be a show, because I always think about the whole show. I want it to be a well-rounded show where people can go, don't feel like we all held back or something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, are they all trying to be clean or something? So I thought, well, I'll, bust out a little bit here and there just to kind of push it a little bit. But that's the other thing is that I found in that room, wow, people kind of, when I started going towards the edge, some of them followed me, and some of them I think were scared or something because they got quiet on a few of them, and I'm going, and that just happens sometimes. You're going, geez, man, they're taking me seriously here. They're thinking that.
Now you had a lot of interaction from the tables right around the stage. Does that you feel that more like a heckling thing, or do you like the interaction with them?
I don't like the heckling, But interaction, there's like that's a good question. There's two different things.
Right.
Everybody
Do you
thinks
just say, "Hey, do you ever just say shut up, Patty?" Just continue. That's a just go for the base. Just say shut up, Patty.
No, that's only if you show up, Lenny.
Oh.
No, I know. That's true. It hurts. Truth hurts.
No, I mean, because everybody thinks just anything's heckling. Like if you go, "Hey, that's heckling," or to me, heckling is when you just say, "Hey, you suck," or
I didn't know if it just threw you off,
or
Does it throw you off from your routine if they do try to interact with you? Not heckling so much as, but just interjecting things. Does that throw you off, or does that help you?
Sometimes it does. You remember the lady up front who was I had designated them as the yacht people?
Yes.
And then she wanted to get involved, and then I'd say something, and she'd get offended and bring out something, or like, "Oh, I called it a boat," and she said, "It's not a boat, it's a yacht." And then,
right.
She thought she was being smart, but she was actually just giving me more coal to stick in the oven, or the fireplace. Because I said, "Okay." See, I told y'all people. But that's what's funny is I do that not just about every show. I kind of do the crowd like that. These people are rich people. These people are the a-holes. Like I changed the poor people from the a-holes. And then these were the preppy kids and the yacht people. Now, if I got to do a club where they don't like that, then I just go straight through material. And those are the rooms where you just do material, and if people want to get involved, you can't say anything. You just got to keep going. And I've had rooms like that. I'm doing a room like that in July out in Oklahoma City. They absolutely do not want you to have any interaction with the crowd. They want you to go up, do jokes,
really?
and get off stage. Yeah. Which is fine. I don't care. That's fine. But I've worked like that. So, like when I was doing cruises, being able to interact with the audience helped me so much with the cruise ships, because think about the variety of people you have on a Carnival cruise line. You
get the whole
You're
gambit.
going to get everybody from people that just walked out of a trailer and have never even seen the ocean to people that, this is like their low-end vacation because they didn't make the cruise to Alaska that year.
And you got to remember that you're probably gonna have to face them sometime later on the cruise because you're all stuck on the boat.
Exactly.
So you got a little bit.
So you definitely don't want to go up and suck.
Right.
Yeah, it was a funny show, and I was kind of surprised at how you did. I thought the crowd was, I wouldn't say a crowd, but the audience was really kind of almost out of it to start with. It took a while to get them warmed up, and I didn't know if that was. I think a lot of people said that was like their first time there, so maybe if they just weren't. That was my first time at a comedy club. I've seen comedians before, but I'd only done like arenas and really large venues like that. So that was my first time. But I thought you guys all handled it really well as far as the crowd, because I've seen some of your videos and the crowds are a lot more wild than what we were. So
yeah. Well, one of those was in Arkansas. So a lot of that you may not have understood. I had to do a lot of translating. No. The other one you saw on there was in Dubuque, Iowa, and that was in a casino with about 300 or 400. I think it was 300. I can't remember. It was a pretty big crowd, and they were into it.
Right.
So with that, you can't have a lot of bantering with that, because even if people yell out something, with that many people in that big a room in Iowa, I ain't gonna hear them.
Oh yeah.
You know,
and you gotta work the whole room. Yeah. Yeah.
But that small room in Columbia, see, that's the other thing. You have to match your act to what the room is. That's why with the small room like that, it's better to kind of play with the audience and interact with them. Now, a big room, you just want to go up and just hit your jokes, hit your big punchlines hard, and loud, and be very. I like being very animated anyway, but boy, when you those big rooms, you really got to sell it. You got to drive it home, because you got to make the act bigger than what you would in that little room that you saw me.
Oh yeah. Now tell us about time, Brian. Like your worst time on stage, where you've just had like everything went wrong. your worst nightmare on stage. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'll tell you. But Lenny he sounds like he's getting excited.
I
can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
Well, people love misery.
Man. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, there's two things. Oh, go ahead, Lenny. Sorry. Go ahead.
That's kind of. I was just when people ask questions, I just think about like the things in my personal experiences, and I usually say that was somebody else, a friend of mine, that was their experience. But
oh, that's
but
beautiful.
yeah,
You're
you're
good to him.
Yeah. So yeah, let's hear it. I have a few questions too. So.
All right.
I'll
Well,
let John,
one of them I will tell you is on my website, and it's a story that I wrote. It's true, and it's called My Perfect Hell Gig. That's one of them. I won't tell you that one because it's already on my website. People want to go to the website, they can read about it.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and Brian, go ahead and give out your info now, and if they want to look at that.
Okay. If they want to go to briantshirley.webs.com and just go to Life and Road Stories, My Perfect Hell Gig. That's one of the worst ones I've ever had. My dad, who's listening, had to help me through that night. But
oh, wow.
if you read it, it's a great story. Well, he wasn't there. I had to call him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah,
that's when it's really bad. If you got to call your dad, you know it's really bad.
Exactly. So the other one was I was in, this story is coming out in a book that I got coming out in about, hopefully in a month or two. I was up in Canada with Daryl Rhodes, and we did about 3 weeks, 16 cities in 3 weeks. We were hauling ass. And we were in a little town called Prince Rupert. If you ever look in the on the map, it's about as far north and west you can get in North America. And there's a fishing village, and they only had like an hour to catch whatever fish they were fishing for the season.
Before the sun, they didn't see the sun for another 6 months.
Exactly. Well, just think about all this and going, and then we're in the tundra, and you're thinking, oh, he's going to start talking about ice road truckers or something. No, I'm talking about doing a damn comedy show. I'm not talking about looking for the Yeti. I'm talking about going and making people laugh, you know?
Oh,
so
boy.
We get there, finally. I think a helicopter dropped us in because the car couldn't make it. No, anyway. And they are drunk. You know, you say Canadians that drink. Well, these people in Prince Rupert are where Canadians learn how to drink. I think they go there to learn. And I got up there, I guess I was still pretty green. I think I'd been doing it maybe 5 years at that point. Thought I had a good 30 minutes. Now I look back and go, no, you had a good 10. The other 20 was stuff that needed work. But I got up there, and, man, I heard every slam you could hear as a comedian in within 20 minutes. You know, you suck, say something funny.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
That's going to hurt. Say something funny.
There were so many of them that I actually stopped and said, look, I can slam you guys back, but you're going to have to slow down and say it one at a time, and I need to know where you're at.
Take a number.
So raise your hand or something. Yeah. And then, you know, it was that bad. Daryl, the guy and he's still a good friend of mine, I told a workshop class, I gave a speech and told him the story. Called Daryl after it, and I said, Daryl, I just told these people about the worst gig I ever had. And he goes, I remember that. That's how bad it was. He went, I know what show that was. And I said, okay, where was it? He goes, Prince Rupert. I said, oh, damn you. But
you probably should have said A. If you'd have thrown the A after everything, you might have understood you.
That's what my mistake was, Lenny. Why couldn't you have been there, you bastard?
Well, Lenny's actually thinking about heading up there to mine for gold.
Oh, really? Well, don't go there. I came off stage, and this guy buys me a beer, right?
Yeah,
he comes up and he goes, let me buy you a beer, I said, okay. So I thought, well, hell, I got a fan, you know. Sit down, and I'm about to drink, and he goes, let me ask you a question. I said, sure. He goes, why do you do all that stuff you have to think about? So that's when I took the beer. I just slammed it as quick as I could and said thanks and walked off.
Oh, man. Yeah. Do you think when you get booed and stuff, when you have a bad night, do you think it's the crowd is already predetermined they're not going to like you when you go up there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think a certain amount of people try to kind of get off on that stuff, you
Right.
know. But then